Good. So, welcome everybody. Welcome to the church in Ocean Park. And yes, we're talking about that survey. So, please be sure that you fill out the survey. Where's that located, Reverend Janet?
It's in the Wednesday weekly email. So if you're not on the list, please put your name and your email in the chat. You may also be getting it and may be going to spam. So Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock, you should be getting it. If you don't see it, go to your spam folder first. And then if you don't have it, let us know.
Fantastic. Thank you, Reverend Janet.
It's also on the website under the CIOP tab.
Okay. Thanks, Linda. Thank you. So
It's
welcome
also on
everybody.
Instagram.
Welcome to the church in Ocean Park. It's what time is it? I'm on the East Coast, so I have no idea what time it is. So but it is good to see you all, and it's something 17. So we're gonna get singing. So yes, so put yourselves on mute. You got to help me out with this song. This is by the wonderful Pat Humphries. She is part of Emma's Revolution. And the response line, let me get it up here in the chat. The song is called Common Threads, and the response line is, "We will rise all together. We will rise. In a many-colored garden, we are growing side by side. We will rise all together. We will rise. With the sun and moon upon us, not a row will be denied. We will rise all together. We will rise. We will rise like the ocean. We will rise like the sun. We will rise all together. We will rise. In our many-colored fabrics, made from strands of common thread, we will rise all together. We will rise." So you get the idea of how that goes. So everyone take a good stretch, and we'll be ready for the next verse. Goes like this. We'll defy the threat of violence. We'll no longer live in fright. We will rise all together. We will rise. With our arms around each other, we will walk into the light. We will rise all together. We will rise. We will rise like the ocean. We will rise like the sun. We will rise all together. We will rise. We will weave a freedom fabric from these strands of common thread. We will rise all together. We will rise. Oh, Linda, you've got a great background. Fantastic. Thanks for putting that up. From our children to our elders, we will rise. We will rise. We will rise all together. We will rise. We will build a global family from our strands of common thread. We will rise all together. We will rise. We will rise like the ocean. We will rise like the sun. We will rise all together. We will rise. We will build a global family strengthened by our common threads. We will rise all together. We will rise. We will rise like the ocean. We will rise like the sun. We will rise all together. We will rise. We will weave a freedom fabric from these strands of common thread. We will rise all together. We will rise. One more time. We will rise like the ocean. We will rise like the sun. We will rise all together. We will rise. We will build a freedom fabric from these strands of common thread. We will rise all together. We will rise. Welcome to the church in Ocean Park. We are rising all together with this freedom fabric. And now for our welcome spoken this morning, Kathleen Benjamin.
Woo! We will rise, yes. Hi, my name is Kathleen Benjamin, and I'm a member of the church in Ocean Park. I'm here to welcome you to this unique interfaith community that is dedicated to social justice. You may wonder if you're welcome here. We are interfaith, so you are welcome if you're Jewish, if you're Muslim, if you're Hindu, Buddhist, Christian, atheist, some combination, or something else altogether. We extend a special invitation to those who are single, married, divorced, gay, transgender, filthy rich, or dirty poor. We extend a special invitation to those who are woke or just waking up. We extend a welcome to those who are vaccinated and to those who are not. We don't care if you're more religious than the Pope or haven't been to church since your nephew's baptism. We extend a special invitation to those who are over 60 but not grown up yet, and to teenagers who are growing up too fast. We invite dreamers, soccer moms, tree huggers, and visionaries. We invite those who are in recovery or still addicted. We invite you if you're having problems and you're down in the dumps. We welcome those who like organized religion or those who don't. We offer a special invitation to those who work too hard or don't work at all, or because you're bored and you're staying home all day, have heard that this is an inclusive church. We invite those who are inked, redhead, whitehead, long-haired, or bald. We offer a special invitation to those who could use a prayer right now or had religion shoved down your throat. We invite tourists, seekers, doubters, bleeding hearts, and you. Welcome to the church at Ocean Park. So join me in our chant. I'll be chanting, and I'll be saying this 3 times. I have arrived. I am home in the here and in the now. I have arrived. I am home in the here and in the now. I think that was 2. I have arrived. I am home in the here and in the now. Welcome to the church in Ocean Park. Richest blessings.
Thank you, Kathleen. My name is Janet Gollery McKeithen, and I'm the minister at the church in Ocean Park. And I too want to welcome you. I just want to make sure that you know that at the church in Ocean Park, since we are diverse, you might hear different points of view and some things that you don't agree with. I don't think that may not happen, but it may. If it does, just realize that that's that person's opinion and that's that person's theology. And nobody speaks for the church in Ocean Park except for the administrative board. So you're welcome. If you hear something you disagree with, that's why we have the sharing time and time afterwards for fellowship. So welcome to the church in Ocean Park. I want to introduce now the speaker for this morning. I'm so excited to meet her. Sung Tse is the chapter president of PFLAG St. Gabriel Valley, Asian Pacific Islanders chapter. She was born in South Korea and immigrated to the United States when she was 7. Like many people, Sung was sheltered in a conservative Christian bubble for 30 plus years. When her younger child came out as transgender, instead of creating trauma many parents cause, she believed God had a purpose for her and her family. And so rather than her faith in God being shaken as it might be, her journey of initial confusion evolved and she became a vocal and visible advocate and ally, affirming and loving LGBTQIA+ people, especially those of Korean descent. Her journey has made her more compassionate to the amazing people who drew her out of her comfort zone. I have to tell you that this bio brings tears to my eyes because So many parents don't take this route, as most of you know, and instead condemn their children, leading to more pain and suffering and even sometimes to their death. And the trauma is carried not only within them and their body and their soul, but also within the community. So I'm so grateful to Sung that she didn't inflict more pain, but is actually bringing education and support and healing to many, many people, especially in the Korean community. So please help me welcome Sung Tse. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Janet. I appreciate this opportunity. And the church, as you all know, have really harmed this community. And so anyway, Janet gave me a really nice a guide to talking points today. So I'm going to look down, and that's what I'm looking at my paper. So I have always been a fight for the underdog. I've even when I was in Korea, you know, I was 6, 7, and I was the eldest of my cousins, my siblings. So I always had this leadership role and protected them, and you know, and stuff like that. And but when we immigrated, I lost my voice because I lost my language. I couldn't communicate. I came without knowing, you know, a word of English. But you know, kids, we learn very quickly. And then interestingly, I lost my voice again when I immersed myself in the conservative Chinese church that I attended for 30 years. And I didn't even know, and this is so great that the explanation of interfaith versus non-denominational, because I actually thought that it meant the same thing. So when we attended this church, and that's what drew me to it, I thought they meant they were interfaith, but they were non-denominational, which meant they had no governing body to answer to. And this was, it kind of blew up in their face when they fired one of the youth pastors, which actually led us, a group of us, to split off. And we planted our own church, and my son actually felt comfortable enough to start his coming out process. It's really incredible the way all this stuff worked together. But so my support for my child never wavered. I was ready to leave my church, my whatever, you know, and because that's what mothers do. That's what mothers should do. And the fact that parents, mothers reject their children, that is the definition of ungodly. There was a poll, you know, there's a poll of unhoused LGBTQ youth, and I believe 40 to 45% identify as LGBTQ. I mean, there are some really crappy parents, period. I'm being real. I'm not using like really flowery, pretty words because Janet said that y'all are real, and so I'm gonna get real and just speak my truth. There are some really crappy parents out there who don't have LGBTQ kids. They're just crappy parents, period. So, you know, so yeah, of course you're gonna have crappy parents, you know, who throw their LGBTQ kids out on the street. So that's not some shock, right? Because they throw out kids who are not queer. Let's see. What keeps me Christian? Not necessarily following the whole organized religion thing, is meeting queer Christians. I didn't know it was a possibility to be queer and Christian. I like to say that I have a lot of God moments in my life that have, like, I know that's God. I know that's God. Can't be, you know, I guess you could chalk it up to coincidence, but it's happened too many times for me to say that these were coincidental. But I met this one particular Chinese lesbian who was Christian, and we were in this progressive Christian board together. And at that time, when my kid first came out, the mama bear in me was fierce. I mean, I really had to control myself because I was just so angry. When I actually found out that queer kids, as vulnerable as they are cast out from Christian homes. So anyway, I was like really, really angry, and I'm still working on tempering my anger. But as a part of this Facebook group, when anyone, they're just getting woke, like asking questions, and stuff, and there were fully affirming pastors, who are answering the questions and such. But I was like this crazy mom, just lamb blasting them, and this woman, she showed so much grace to this one person, and I thought, she's more Christian than I am, and anyway, she and I are really good friends now. But yeah, and also attending a convention called the Reformation Project. I think right up until that time, I knew my son being trans was not a choice. I mean, he's my kid. I know what he went through, and he and I were very, very close. But I think maybe up until that time, a part of me still thought, that same-sex attraction was a choice. So I attended this Reformation Project, and two things happened there. I met this other Christian lesbian, and she said she was a late bloomer, right? She was a late bloomer. She grew up in a church. They, preached against homosexuality, and she didn't think, well, really anything of it because it didn't impact her, and because she wasn't attracted to anyone. Then she got to college and met a girl. And what should have been a moment of, of excitement, of hope, and and anticipation, she thought, oh my God, I'm going to hell. And she said she was so angry with God. She said, why did you make me this way if you were going to hate me? And that's when I knew this was not a choice. This just as me being hetero is not a choice, right? I had my first crush when I was 4. I still remember him. Let's see. Yeah. So when, as Janet said, read my bio, our church community, the church that we helped plant, we prayed. We met 3 times a week praying for God's guidance. What do you want us to do, Lord? What do you want for our church? We prayed and blah, blah. And, my son came out. And I said to them, like, do you think this is just a coincidence? Like one of your core members has an LGBTQ child. Don't you think this is God telling us you need to rethink about what you think about this community? No. So anyway, I wrote this letter, saying, please, look at this, understand that the word homosexuality wasn't even included in the Bible until 1946. And how old is the Bible? I mean, think about this, and so anyway, they sent one of the members to my home and said, we know, we could feel that you are, what was the word they used? Torn, about remaining in this church, and we give you our blessing to leave. And I was like, okay, wow. And these are people I've known for 25, almost 30 years. They knew me before we had kids. I mean, supposedly they love my child. I mean, it was devastating. It was devastating. Let me back up a little bit. So, we met during these prayer meetings and such. And when my child first came out in October 2015, we didn't tell anyone, because we really thought, oh my God, like, what is this? Although our love and support never wavered for our son, we were kind of like, oh my God, like, what's going to happen? What's going to happen to him? What's going to happen to us? Who do we tell? So we decided to tell our core group. There are only 20 of us, 20 families. No, not even 20, maybe 12. So My husband and I told them, he told the men and I told the women, and we all cried and boo-hooed and, he's broken, but we still love him, blah, blah. And so, so we prayed, and we did pray the trans away, we tried. And then my husband and I got home and we thought, what is the difference from this prayer and from praying that my kid gets into a good college, praying for a better job, better paying job, whatever. Like, we are praying to a slot machine. Is that what we believe? That God is a slot machine? So we changed our prayer. We said, God, we believe that you have a plan for us and that you've blessed us with this child for a reason. Show us why, show us what you want us to do. And in our life, oh my gosh, just one thing after another, meeting not just one affirming Asian pastor, but two who were on their own journeys. And, it cost them. It cost them because one pastor, I think 40% of his congregation left, and, and he was called, a blasphemer, just all this stuff, his personal. But anyway, that's still not anything in comparison to what LGBTQ people themselves, the price they pay. But anyway, so I met, queer Christians and realized I don't have to choose, whether I love my child, or being Christian. And so during this turmoil, when we lost our community and we were, meeting other people, and my husband and I went away for a weekend. I can't even remember where we went, but my son had chosen a new name for himself. It's not a very common name, but I see it a lot now. I don't know if it's because I'm paying attention, but his new name is Kai, and it's a combination of of my brother's name and my husband's name. But so my husband and I were sitting at this restaurant, and the walls were full of the colorings that kids do. You give your kid a drawing and crayons to get them to be quiet. And this restaurant had posted it all over. So the booth where we sat, I looked up and looked at this drawing, and the kids all write their names, and their name was Kai. And I was just like, what are the chances? And my husband and I looked at it and we thought, you know what? We're going to be fine. Because we lost our community. I'm still crying. I thought, anyway, because I met some amazing people, like you all, right? I wouldn't have met you if my son had not been trans, but God never left us. He never left us. He was literally like, the Jesus and the footprints in the sand. Where were you when I was going through all this? So he never left us. My God, the God that we believe in, never left us. Let's see what else. Yeah, so the reason I speak and do panels and advocate and stuff is because, like someone said to me, we all have different levels of privilege, right? And your privilege is an umbrella, and my privilege in this heteronormative society is being heterosexual, a cis woman. And so this umbrella, my friend said, what are you going to do with this umbrella? Who are you going to shelter? You can't just keep it to yourself when you have this privilege, especially when you call yourself Christian. So that's why I do what I do. And especially in the Asian American, the AAPI community, generally our culture, we're very not introverted, but we don't share our dirt. We don't air our laundry, right? We keep it among, we don't want to shame the family, shame our ancestors, whatever. We want to keep it quiet. And that has been very detrimental to our community. Mental health is still a taboo, right? But it's getting better. And in the Asian community, it was very much a taboo, like, oh, we don't have mental health problems in our community. But that is also changing, fortunately. We're speaking out more about that. And also, I need to tell people being LGBTQ is not a white people problem. As much as you think it is, and especially you want to believe that, your kids say otherwise. Your kids are proof that this is not the case. So I'm so thankful for opportunities like this, and being invited to other spaces. Let's see, what else did I want to say? So the things that I want y'all to know, and I'm sure this is not news, but there is no middle way. A church cannot be middle way. You cannot have a church with LGBTQ people and with other people who are not affirming. This is the reason why my child he won't go to church anyway, but this is why he would not attend a middle way church. He said, I could be sitting next to a person who thinks I don't belong there, but they tolerated me because, we're a midway or middle church, whatever that proper term is, and I don't blame him. You can use my own culture as an example. If I go to a white church and a white church says, we don't feel that Asian people have the same, that God loves the same, that God loves white people and Asian people the same, but we're going to agree to disagree, and we're going to commingle or coexist in the same church. No, that is not going to happen. And that is not what LGBTQ people should be subjected to. And there are, I want y'all to know that there is actually an organization called Beloved Arise. And this is specifically for queer youth who identify as Christian. So the founder of this organization is, look, we cannot change everyone's minds. We cannot go to these conservative churches and say, you're wrong. What we can do is, if you cannot provide the support for your youth, your queer youth, send them to us. We will pastor them. We will talk to them. So they're the founder is not doing this, uphill battle of trying to change the minds of conservative Christians. Instead, he is ministering and trying to directly minister to this vulnerable group. And okay, so to get back to being real, I don't know. I think all of us like to think that we're allies, but to be an ally, and if you yourself have not paid a price, you can't call yourself an ally. And being an ally is not a title you give to yourself, it is earned. It is bestowed to you by LGBTQ community. I have this friend who used to send me things like secretly, right? Through Facebook Messenger, and I told her, I don't need secret allies. I don't want them. I don't need you. If you are not going to get in line with me side by side, you are not an ally to me. You are not an ally to my child. So, right? I'm real. I don't pussyfoot. I say what it is. Let's see. Yeah. So, I had said to Janet earlier, what is ungodly? When these conservative Christians say, oh, being LGBTQ is ungodly, blasphemy, blah, blah, blah. You know what is ungodly? Not loving your fellow human being. I think Christians, these conservative Christians, forget who Jesus was. He hung out with the marginalized. He hung out and loved the lepers. People that other the general population, try to throw away and get rid of. The tax collectors, the people that society despised, looked down on. That was Jesus. He washed the feet of other people. And that's just like, yeah. So I don't know if I consider myself that Christian. I am definitely still a Christ follower. I want to continue being the hands and feet of Jesus. And yeah, people forget, none of us is deserving. We all fall short, all of us. None of us could judge anyone else. So, yeah. Oh, one last thing that I want to say. So I was invited to speak at a Korean church, and I was just like, wow, this is amazing. So it wasn't even a Korean American church. It was actually like, first generation Koreans. And the pastor, we had like an interpreter and all that. And the pastor, was saying how vulnerable this population is. And as Christians, we are called to protect the vulnerable and da. And he said that he was asked once, you don't have, a gay person, trans person, sexual minority in your family. Why do you care so much about the LGBTQ community? And I told my son this, and he was like, this enraged him. He said, of all people who should care about the LGBTQ community are Christians. If you see a man or see a person drowning, bleeding on the street, are you gonna first ask, are you gay? Are you trans? Are you this? Are you that? That just boggled him, and he was just like, I am so done with Christians. So maybe I should have told him that, but anyway, yeah. So I kind of like, whip through, but I want to open up to like questions and comments, and and have a dialogue. So yeah, so that's my story.
Thank you so much, Sung.
You're welcome.
There is so many people resonating with different parts. I know I can see it, and you'll find out after I think we have another song by Louise, if Louise's sound is on.
I'm a little girl, don't take up much space, but I'm trying to figure out my place. I go this way, that way, I make a mess, seeking out the world with a child's finesse. And I'm a teenage boy on the awkward side, and you hurt my heart, never mind my pride, when you bully me for who I am, just finding my way to the promised land. Take it easy on me. Take it easy on me. And I'm a grown woman, my eyes sore, watching love smash to the floor. The biggest shards I've swept aside, but dust remains to break my stride. Take it easy on me. Take it easy on me. And I'm a broken man inside my head, and I can't remember what you said, and words to me slip from my grasp, so I mumble just to fill the gap. Take it easy on me, yeah. Take it easy on me. I can't find a job, and I don't own a car, but you gotta eat no matter who you are. And dirt poor is not the same as dirt, and I'm trying to make this living work. And I've come from very far away, and I hope to find a better day, but your tongue trips my tongue flat, and I miss my home, but I can't go back. Take it easy on me. 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 You're up free to share, Claudia Landis.
Thank you, Louise. And Sung, that's your name, right?
Yeah.
I want to share something with you, and I feel like it's one of those things that can't be a coincidence. My father's first cousin, that would have been my father's mother's youngest sister's son, was gay. And this would have been in the 50s, and he ended up committing suicide. And I have been lately going through my garage, and everyone has been, Jean has been talking about cleaning out her house. I've been cleaning out my garage. And it's interesting, my garage somehow became the place where I got everyone's belongings. I don't know how it happened. But get this, I got the artwork of the father of the son that committed suicide. And the father, they're from Michigan. They grew up in Alpena, Michigan. We've had a service a while ago where somebody mentioned Alpena. He's a dentist. And I hope you can see this. This is a piece of artwork he made. And if you can see, it's on a stone, and it's like a man with a child, swinging the child around. I have other gorgeous pieces of artwork that this man, this dentist, made. And somehow it made it to my garage. I think it made it from my garage, from their house to my grandmother's house in Michigan, and then their house in Sedona, and then somehow in my garage. And I feel like this is them working out what happened. And you can just see the joy. I don't know if the joy, the swinging around of this child, and the spirit that comes through. And somehow I feel like it ended up with us because we're going to honor it. It's like an intergenerational thing. And somehow this is going to be worked out. So thank you for coming to our church.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. Claudia, how about Jean Gasca?
I don't have a lot to say, but you're amazing as a parent. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I cried through the whole thing when you were talking because as a teacher for 40 years, I've watched parents who harm their children by the things they say and the attitudes that they carry. You got an F on that test? How could you? I told you to study. Instead of helping, because that's what we're supposed to do as adults. We're supposed to guide children. We're supposed to love them and help them through their path. And so I just want to thank you for being such a point of light in this world, which is such a difficult place right now. And I'm sure that you inspire parents of non-queer children as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Linda Bond.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. People in this congregation have heard my story a little bit. I have a trans grandchild, and one of the things that I know, it is easier to be a grandma in this situation than it is to be a mom, because sort of the job description of being a grandma is that you accept the child no matter what. I mean, that's That's in the job description. I've looked it up. But the job description for a mom is to raise the child. And that implies sort of guiding the child in the way that the mom thinks they should go. So when my grandchild came out as trans 6 years ago almost, it was a lot easier for me to see it as a growth and learning opportunity than it was for their mom. And when they were suicidal, I illegally took this minor child from their home and moved him into my home. And my ex-daughter-in-law has not spoken to me since. But the good thing is that my grandchild has reconciled with his mom. So, you know, if she wants to hang on with anger with me, like, go for it, right? You know, I'm a big grown-up. I can handle some other grown-up being angry with me and never talking to me. There's a lot of folks in the world. But I know that it's hard for parents to let go of their expectations. I think it's always hard for all of us to let go of expectations, of relationships, of projects, of the way, right? To accept what is and to love and to love people for who they are. I think it's really hard. And I'm just, I'm so grateful for the growth opportunity that I continue to have as this kid becomes, you know, who he is. And I'm so glad that there are people like you in the world to help make the journey of all of these young people just a little bit easier.
Thank you, Linda. Rachel Rose, you have the floor.
Thank you. And thank you, Sung. I want to first thank you for your vulnerability. That's the power in your address. In my own activism, I have bared myself and become completely vulnerable. As one of the mentors in the Emerge California training program I went through, she said, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I think that that's something that most folks don't understand. And your vulnerability is what changes the hearts and minds.
Thank you.
We're not going to reach everyone. We know that. Some people are just way too entrenched. I like what you said about basically I interpret it as being, you know, what you're doing as the true witnessing of Christ's love. My grandfather was an evangelical minister, Assemblies of God. And that was, you know, that was back when I was a child in the, you know, the 60s and 70s when, you know, I don't know that it was so intense as it is now within the evangelical community. Maybe it was. I was young then. But you know, I went to Sunday school and we were taught about witnessing for Christ.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that you can be a true witness of Christ's love and spew hate at the same time.
Right.
It's antithetical. The folks here have heard me say this before, and I will say it again over and over and over again until the day I die. To me, the textbook definition of evil is the weaponization of religion. And it is something that must be fought against. If we do believe in good and evil in the world, these faux people, these faux Christians must be pushed back against. To use the teachings and the words of Jesus Christ to belittle, to discriminate, to put down, to alienate, to want to see them not even exist in the world. This we have to fight against this, because that is what evil looks like. We can look evil in the eye. We know what it looks like, and that's what it looks like. And then lastly, the work that you're doing is so very, very important. I wish that I had known about what it means to be transgender at a young age. I wish I had known. I wish that I had been able to been put on puberty blockers. I wish that I had been able to transition at an early age. I started my transition at the age of 50. And all of those years of self-hatred, because I didn't know what
Yeah.
I was.
Yep.
I just didn't know. And with the known fact that transgender people have a attempted suicide rate of 40%. Also knowing that, again, it's kind of weird that the 40% is also the amount of LGBTQ youth who are homeless. I mean, out of all the homeless youth, 40% is LGBTQ. I know that there's that moms group that says, if you've been kicked out of your family because you're queer, I'm your mom now. And that, whenever I see that, that always touches my heart. So thank you for the work that you're doing. I know that you support your child, and I know that no thanks is necessary. You are doing what you need to do to help your child and help all of the other children out there who are trying to find their way.
Thank you for your words.
Gail Price.
Thank you so very much. Your words were very powerful, and especially when you talked about your anger and pain with the church. I will never ever forget when my father passed away. We went back to Indiana, and we had a service there at our old church, which we went to church there for years and years and years. And my brother, who is gay, almost left. We had a meeting with the pastor to prepare for the service, and my brother almost had to physically leave that physical church because of his memories, because of experiences that he had, the pain, the bullying, the messages. And I had no idea. as his sister. I had no idea. And that hurt me, thinking that he was suffering so much. I mean, I knew he hated church, and so did I, but for different reasons. So I can so relate, and I still feel that pain for him. And he won't go near a church. I'm the only one in my family who goes to church, and it's only because it's a church in Ocean Park. So thank you so very much, and for your advocacy. As a Christian woman, as a mother. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I need to leave. I'm so sorry, but thank you. Sometimes like when I feel like I'm preaching to the choir kind of thing, right? You all know, I mean, I'm not telling you anything new, right? But we need allies. We can't do this ourselves. And you all have privilege. And I just ask you, I implore you to use your umbrella to shelter those who really, those vulnerable who need to be sheltered. Anyway, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Sung. I want to thank you for being here. One of the perspectives that you did bring that was so important to many of us is the faith perspective and the what happens in churches, because most of the people, many people are wounded, so wounded from that. And I think you brought in, even though you say you're preaching to the choir, I think you brought in, a different nuance. And I really appreciate that. And I appreciate so much your vulnerability and your work, because when I first heard that there was what you were doing in the Korean church, I could not believe it. First, I knew that Marcia had gone into a Japanese Methodist church and spoken with her son. I thought, oh my God, that's incredible. I know it's how unusual that is. I really appreciate all the stuff that you're doing. Thank you so much.
Let us sing this song for the turning of the world, that we may turn as one. With every voice, every song, we will move this world along, and our lives will feel the echo of our turning. With every voice, with every song, we will move this world along. With every voice, every song, we will move this world along, and our lives will feel the echo of our turning. So that was the chorus. With every voice, every song. The words are in the chat if you want to stay on mute, but sing that along with me. With every voice, with every song, we will move this world along. With every voice, every song, we will move this world along, and our lives will feel the echo of our turning. Now, for this voice, this verse, the word will be healing. Let us sing this song for the healing of the world, that we may heal as one. With every voice, every song, we will move this world along, and our lives will feel the echo of our healing. With every voice, with song, we will move this world along. With every voice, every song, we will move this world along, and our lives fulfill the echo of our healing. Okay, so for this last verse, the word is love. Let us sing this song for the loving of the world, that we may love as one. With every voice, every song, we will move this world along, and our lives fulfill the echo of our loving. With every voice, with every song, we will move this world along. With every voice, every song, we will move this world along, and our lives fulfill the echo of our loving. With every voice, with every song, we will move this world along. With every voice, every song, we will move this world along, and our lives fulfill the echo of our loving. And our lives fulfill the echo of our healing. And our lives fulfill the echo of our turning. And our lives fulfill the echo of our loving.
What's happening?
I don't know. Now we've got the ritual of remembrance. So, Jean.
Yes, I think my computer is somehow causing the echoing. I don't know how. So we're going to have a remembrance ritual now. It's a very short song. These do I remember well 4 times through all the years. We are remembering Gil Bond. That's Linda Bond's father. And she's going to say a couple words about him before we sing. And then I thought we would also sing to all of the LGBTQ kids who've been kicked out of their houses and have committed suicide. Remembering them.
Sister?
Sorry?
Did you get the message about Kathleen's sister? That's even that. I'm not sure if you got it.
I didn't know.
Okay, so I'll all right. So Kathleen Benjamin's sister, whose name, hold on, like I said, I thought I sent it in the chat, and Kathleen said she's sorry that she had to leave and couldn't be here. Eleonora Benjamin Ivy, who passed away, and Kathleen passed away and said, may she be raised up as the ancestors greet her. So, Elnora Benjamin Ivy.
Okay, Linda, a couple of words about your dad.
So that's me and my dad. That's 75 years ago. And we fought all the time. We pretty much disagreed on everything. And I knew that no matter what, he would always love me. And I think that that knowledge has allowed me to have the courage to speak my truth no matter what. So I remember him on the 29th anniversary of his death.
All right, so now we're going to sing. I'm going to try something new. I have a little keyboard here. Let's see how it works. These do I remember well. 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 Through all the years. We remember them.
Okay, let's have a closing song, The Power of Kindness. Words are in the chat. It's by MaMuse, two young women. Oh, let's see. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. How's my sound? Oh, I believe in the power of love, power of love. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love. Now we don't know what's coming, but we can help shape what's ahead. With kindness as our currency, the commonwealth is in our hands. So give a little, all, give a lot, don't stop. A helping hand makes the world go round. There's more than enough. So, ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Try that at home. Ooh, I believe in the power of love. Power of love. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love. Now listen up now, people, but keep your ear to the ground. We are the river flowing, generosity abounds. So give a little, all, give a lot, don't stop. Helping hand makes the world go round. There's more than enough. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Oh, I believe in the power of love, power of love. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness, kindness. Oh, I believe in the power of love. The honeybee serves sweetness only to help the world bloom. Bringing love to the flower, from the flower to the fruit, we could learn a thing or two. So give a little, oh, give a lot, don't stop. Helping hand makes the world go round. There's more than enough. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love, the power of love. Ooh, I believe in the power of kindness, kindness. Ooh, I believe in the power of love, the power of love.
Louise, can I come in here a minute?
Of course.
Please,
Yes,
please
of course.
please remember we have communion service today. So we're going to start communion about 5 minutes after we close our service, just to let you get ready. So we have communion service today. I was wondering if that same song you couldn't play, you could play it to begin our communion service.
The same one?
Is that, yeah, is that possible? The one that you was able to
I think
finish?
I can manage it.
Okay.
Great,
All
thank
right.
you. So now we're gonna, everybody unmute. We're going to take our hands and around the world, and one day soon, we're going to do this in person. But for now, we'll do it our virtual way, and we'll say together, carry on. 1, 2, 3, carry on.
Carry on. Carry on. Carry on.
Carry on.